everyone, MGTOW Mando here. I've just got a few random thoughts that I really feel the need to get off my chest. Now, this isn't due to any specific event or thing that's happened. It's just kind of a culmination of things that have occurred that I feel I should give a little bit of context for you all, and hopefully give some of you guys something to think about over the next several weeks, months, and possibly the next year. I don't know. It is the end of 2023 after all. And this thought is about the topic of advice. Then we have the really bad habit, and I don't know if it's something that's because of evolution, genetics, or just our own individual stubbornness and egos. But we have the habit of not really liking to help other men out when we have difficulties with something. It seems as though we like to, what's the word I'm looking for? Not necessarily sabotage, but we like to give individuals something that may or may not be the most useful tools when they're dealing with a problem. Now, we're all guilty of doing this. Whether it's when somebody asks you how you did something, you just say, well, years of practice. Or when you're upset at somebody and they ask you why, you give them something like, just do better. Well, guys, we've all been there. We all know that that kind of thing is utterly useless to say to somebody. If someone's asking you for help, don't just tell them you have to do X, Y, Z and not give them something that they can actually work with. And for this, I'm going to go ahead and pick on something that for me is a constant source of frustration and difficulty. That's relationships. I have lost count of the number of times where I've asked people, male and female, where people can go to actually meet individuals. I've gotten everything from, oh, you need to go online, or you just need to put yourself out there. Well, okay, that's great. If online dating worked for guys that are average, that advice would be great. It'd be helpful. Most guys, I'd say about 85 to 90%, there's some that say it's 80, some that say it's 90, are invisible on dating apps. Let's just be completely frank here. Women will swipe right on maybe 15 to 20% of the dudes out there. Whereas guys, we tend to swipe right on anything that looks like has a pulse and meets whatever our standards are for attractiveness. And then we'll go and ask people who have been successful in dating, oh, where do you go? Where did you meet? Yada, yada, yada. And the answers, at least in my case, that people seem to like giving are, oh, you gotta put yourself out there. You gotta go out and try different things. You gotta approach as many people as you can. Okay. All of that might have worked in the 1920s. Heck, it might have worked in the 1990s. Today, you're going to get called a creeper for doing a cold approach. I should know. I've had it happen. When people say things like that, they're not wanting to acknowledge the fact that the rules have changed since the last time they were out there on the dating scene. Now, I'm bringing this up specifically for relationships. This could be for almost anything. If you have somebody who is joining you in a sport and just starting out and wondering where you learned XYZ technique, don't just say, well, I picked it up over time. Actually tell them where you got that information. Or if it is something that's legitimately something that takes time to learn, offer to teach them. Guys, we have got to stop setting our brothers up to fail. Ladies, if there's any of you watching this, if you know there's a guy who is generally a good guy, but is not having any success with your gender, and he's asking for help, actually try to help. I know it's a frightening concept. Most people don't want to do that. For whatever reason, we as humans, we like to believe that when we have a problem, we're the only one that matters. We also seem to like to believe that when we have the solution, it should be painfully obvious to everyone around us. I contend that if people actually started trying to help one another out, a lot of these issues that we've come across over the last, I'm going to say 20 years or so, they want to go away overnight. Because human nature is human nature. However, it would definitely mitigate a good chunk of it. So, guys, if you manage to meet up with a young lady, or whatever your target demographic for age or attractiveness is, and you have one of your fellow dudes asking you where you met this person, don't just say, "Oh, I met her out and about." Tell them where you met that person. You've already got a relationship. There's no reason that you should be afraid to tell your brethren where you went to meet this wonderful person that you're with. Ladies, stop sabotaging each other. If you have a member of your friend group who claims to want a relationship, but at the same time is regularly turning away guys for the silliest reasons out there, call her out on it. There's a term I've heard a few times called gaslighting, with a similar term called yas-lighting, where you're essentially lying to a person by saying yes, or you're not telling them the full truth but making it look like you're being nice to them. And men, we can be guilty of this as well. We've all seen it. Some of us might have even done it. But here's the deal. This year is coming to a close. Every one of us has got some kind of issue going on that we're trying to fix. I want you to think about what it is that you've got going and how you would respond if somebody who you knew had that same issue came up to you and asked you for advice. How would you respond if they gave you information that you knew for a fact was just them answering the question, but not actually answering it in a way that was helpful? Like I said, this is men and women. We have both got to start working together on this. Now, I'm going to also give you a little bit of my background here. Yes, I have MGTOW in my name. That is because I have fully accepted that I probably will never know what it's like to be in a long-term loving relationship again. Little secret, gentlemen. Unlike many guys my age, and I am 40, I have been waiting until marriage. The closest I have ever gotten to going all the way with a young woman, trying to keep this friendly for YouTube, sorry about dancing around the language, is second base, as they used to say it back years and years ago when my parents were probably dating, and even before. Most guys my age have gotten a lot further than that. but I chose a different path. I'm not saying mine's the right path. It's the right path for me. Men, you have to choose the path that is right for you. Women, if there's any of you watching, same deal. You have to choose the path that is best for you. But don't assume, just because your path is what you need, that your friends, your siblings, your coworkers, etc., are in the same boat. Just remember, everyone, the people that you talk to on your day-to-day lives, they might be happy, chipper, and holding it together on the outside, and literally about to fall apart on the inside. You don't know the pain another person is going through. I don't know if you're having the best day of your life, or if you're 2 stages away from collapsing into an absolute crying fit, ready to just go look at that nearby bridge and say, I wonder how it would feel. For all I know, somebody out there listening to this message is having that exact conversation in their head right now. I would hope that your stronger nature prevails and you decide to tough it out and, if need be, get some kind of treatment, or find a group of people that are like-minded and hang out with them. Get help, get advice, do whatever. But ladies and gentlemen, we have got to start doing better by one another. There is good advice out there. There is useless and bad advice out there. You have got to figure out, before you give advice to somebody, if what you're going to say to them is actually good advice, or if it's advice that if you were to receive it, you would look at the person and be like, great, now where's something I can use? There's a joke in an old video game that I have, Mass Effect 3, where one of the characters says to another one, the thing about getting old is that the platitudes also get old. And literally 5 seconds later, the character uses the same platitude that your character used on him. Ladies and gentlemen, think about that before you give advice to somebody. If you cannot help, then just be there, just try to be there and be a sympathetic ear. Be a friend to somebody that you know is hurting. Because guess what? Sometimes that is literally all that's keeping someone from deciding, I am done, the game is over, and I am taking myself off the board. I don't know about you, but I would feel guilty as hell if I had heard somebody had removed themselves from the census over something stupid after I gave them advice, or after I gave them a platitude, thinking it was good, useful advice. Well, I know this is kind of a downer of a message, and I'm sorry about that. But I hope you all actually stop and think about it before you post really nasty negative comments. And just remember, for all of you out there that are hurting, there are people around who can and will help. Unfortunately, it's on you to find them. Because, Vode, brothers, sisters, we cannot deal with everything alone. I want to say it was a 19th century thinker that wrote that no man is an island. Unfortunately, I don't remember where that quote comes from, otherwise I would cite it. But it is just as true today as it was when it was first written down a couple hundred years ago. If you need help, reach out. If you need a laugh, and you're in the single guy type community, I strongly suggest everyone that is listed on the crawl at the bottom of this video. You can find most of them on YouTube. You can find several of them on alternate tech channels. I know at the very least Terrence Pop is more than happy to respond to emails from viewers asking for help or advice. Red Pill Rhino, he is also very much willing to offer advice and information. And Billy Von Baum and MGTOW Outlaw, they do really good, humorous content on a regular basis. I'm going to be trying to do some more pre-record videos like this in the future. Sometimes it's going to just be random audio files of me giving rambling thoughts. Other times it'll be things that are more scripted. But this year, or this upcoming year, expect to see more coming out of me than just bi-weekly live streams. I don't know what the schedule's going to look like yet. I don't know if there's going to be a schedule yet. But keep your eyes open, Vode. Well, retorche mi, Vode. Until we meet again, brothers. MGTOW Mando, out.